Happy Saturday. Some days I think I should actually start this off with some music. Maybe some Christmas songs because like I have my Christmas decor going. I'm in the mood for Christmas and wondering what gifts I'm going to get. I'm excited about that. So just wait for people to join. And then
If I can just get my camera to face me every time I come on, it'll be so much easier. But I always get my finger ready to have it face me because he never actually faces me. I don't know. Which is good though, because most people, when they come on their phone, the camera is always facing them. You know that they're selfie kings and queens.
I know, right? And nothing wrong with being a selfie king or queen. Don't selfie shame people. I'm a
I am
selfie
not
queen.
selfish shaming.
Don't selfie shame us.
I'm not
Us, we
selfish
all love
shaming.
selfies.
I am not selfish shaming, Joan. I am not selfish shaming.
Shame in that game.
Actually, this looking intelligent thing is really important. My colleague said to me, "Oh,
Honestly.
the moment you wear your glasses, you look so intelligent." I just said, "Okay, so I'm hoping that the look matches the matches the sound." Because I don't really know how to take that. Not a compliment, is that an insult? You look, which means you're not really, or you suddenly appear. I don't even
Yeah.
know. So,
As much as we wish that the world wasn't fickle and materialistic, the world is. So you're judged by how you look. And that's for me, I dress how I want to be addressed. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be shabbily dressed or looking like I just crawled out of my bed. No, because I know that people subconsciously just judge you just by the way you present yourself physically. And then they'll listen to what you have to say. And I remember a colleague of mine, he had said to me once, like he was doing rounds of interviews, and he came to me that at the end of the day, and he said to me, he said, you know what? Well, you know what I just realized? And I said, what? He said, all the people who were overweight, for some reason, I already prejudged them because,
wow,
and he said he kept asking himself, why am I not selecting even though they're more qualified,
it's an
what do I have
unconscious
against?
bias.
Yeah, so it was an unconscious bias. And he was like, he thinks that psychologically, when you see someone who's overweight or maybe not dressed well, you almost think that, well, if you can't really care about your look and the way you present yourself, then really, how can you really care about the job? How are you going to be able to deliver? So I never thought of it before then. I was like, whoa. I said, maybe I've also judged people subconsciously just by the way they look.
We all do, and it's an interesting thing about that whole unconscious bias thing. I did a course recently on that, and whilst when I was in denial to say no, but the truth is, you're right. It's the same way we look at something on the shelf, and we think, oh, this doesn't look interesting, or we don't stop, or we think, I didn't quite see that. It's the exact same way. So that's what I told myself, and it made the burden just a little bit easier because I felt like, oh my God, I'm a bad person. Why do I judge this person just by looking at them? But it's just how,
Human nature, human.
yeah, human nature is how we're wired. So being aware of that as well kind of helps you to decide, okay, I want to make an effort. My mom always said something though. My mom said, if you ever have to go out and you run into somebody and you have to explain away your appearance,
I'm
then
just
there's a
sorry.
problem.
I wasn't. No, why? Like,
I said,
say,
oh, forgive my look, I was just really coming out for milk. I didn't really plan to see anyone. Then there's a problem. Because my mom would go from here to just down the street. I'm like, where you go? He said, you never want to explain
you
your
never
appearance to
know.
anybody.
And you never know who
Yeah,
you might
so
bump into.
you
Hello.
never know who you
There.
bump into. Yeah, yeah. So one of those.
Anyway,
How was
I'm
it?
channeling my best auntie ever moves today, and it's a I got this for my nephews last year. Was it last year?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
last year Christmas. Um, yeah, yeah. So I'm one of their three aunties, I think, but they gave me the best auntie ever mug.
Did
So there.
you check to see that you were the only one that got that mug, or were there
Okay, well,
three
baby,
mugs?
I know you're trying to ruin my day. I'm just trying to be happy with myself today. I'm
I'm
happy for
just
a couple of
saying.
reasons. I'm happy for a couple of reasons. So people who know me, so baby likes tech gadgets. I like kitchen gadgets. So I have a lot of kitchen. I just buy all manner of nonsense. So like
I have
now,
a
I'm having like, so I bought a milk frother and it just makes hot chocolate like to die for. But here's why I'm happy today. So for years, I had a shopping problem years ago, but then I've been recovering from shopping. And my worst time of the year is usually like Black Friday. Like I dread Black Friday because that's the day I'm not able to resist shopping. Because for me, I'm a sucker for a good deal. So I buy things I don't freaking need because I think I got
Thank
it.
you.
But that's just how they play with our minds. But anyway, this year I said, you know what? I'm not going to shop this year. Impossible. Black Friday, you got nothing on me. I don't care how many emails I get, how many things pop up on my system. I don't care. I'm not going to see them all. I'm not going to drive by any freaking mall. I'm just going to stay home and just ignore that Black Friday was yesterday. And so in the morning of yesterday, I started to panic a little bit. I was like, oh my God, are you going to get to the, are you sure there's nothing you need? Are you sure? You know, but I went out, I said, you know what? Every single meeting I had yesterday, I told everyone, I said, I'm not shopping this year. I'm not going to the mall. I'm not going to spend a single dollar this Black Friday, because for me, that's always the worst time of the year for me. And I posted it on my WhatsApp, and people were like, yeah, right. Oh, let us know by the end of the day. And I think because I put myself out there and said, I'm not going to do it, even when the temptation came, and I was this close. So I said, oh, you know, I'm just going to go wash my car. So I go to the car wash and I'm driving past the mall and I'm just like, but Joan, it wouldn't hurt to just see what this, you don't have to buy, just have a look. But I was like, no way, that's how it starts. That's the addiction. You see the mall, you're like, oh, let me just go see. I'm not going to buy anything. You know, then you get there, you look at this 80% off, and then you get suckered into buying shit that you don't need. Like me, I have a household filled with shit I don't need. So anyway, so I'm really proud of myself today because I did drive right past that mall, went, washed my car, and then decided to be on the phone call as I was coming back home, so I couldn't stop. And I was like, shit, I locked my door, and I was like, oh my God, shut my laptop, no way, I'm done. I'm not looking at anything. I don't want to hear, I don't want to know who's shopping. So this was probably the first time I haven't shopped on a Black Friday in probably about 25 years.
Oh wow, congratulations. That's a big one.
I feel very accomplished right now.
Funny enough, I'm one of those people that I don't, you know me, you've been to shop with me. I don't really find retail to be therapy as such. I go in, if it's not well laid out, if it's all messy, I don't see anything I work out. You and I go into the same shop, you come out with strokes of stuff, and I'm like, where did you find that? So for me, I tend to go into the store if I want something, and then I'm waiting for it to get into a discount. So I go in there looking for that specific item, I pick it up, and then I'm willing to just get out. So I can only imagine.
Well, you just mentioned something that I think a lot of people, because I know people who say that, oh, I don't like shopping. Oh, I go into the mall, I go to the shops and I see nothing. For me, if I know I have a weakness, because that's what it is, you have a weakness, you go into a mall and can't see shit, then find somebody who loves to shop like me and who has
as long as we don't have to pay them
to find stuff.
Which is what I use you for.
Shopping is a beautiful experience. And we're talking about dress how you want to be addressed. Whether we like it or not, we're in a superficial world. People will always judge you by your looks. And it doesn't always have to be expensive stuff. Like people keep thinking, oh, you spend so much money. I've shot Benny, these glasses, $6, right? My glasses are $6. My top, people are like, oh, it's from Amazon. Like, there's nothing, some days I dress up, yeah, I wear expensive nonsense, but it's not about that. It's about being well put together, you know, and making sure that things kind of match and they look good. And then you can present yourself in a way that people actually want to listen to what you have to say. So if you have horrors like me of going shopping and being confused, find a friend who loves to shop. Find a friend who has a particular style that is pretty similar to yours, because I have some friends, when I look at what they wear, I'm like, yeah, okay. More grease to your elbow, not my style. I'm never going to wear that, but that's fine. So find someone who, you know, your styles kind of complement each other, or you like this style, and then go shopping with them. But you need to dress how you want to be dressed. 2023 goals. Dress how you want to be addressed.
But I have to say, though, that when you find that friend, make sure it's a friend that's not going to hold that over your head. Huh? I'm just saying. It's not a friend that's going to say, what do I bring to this relationship? I take you shopping. On a side note.
I feel attacked. First, I was attacked for, what was the first thing? I'm the best auntie. So for those just joining, my nephews gave me the best auntie ever.
Oh,
and maybe maybe they sent it to all their aunties as well. But
I'm just teasing. Anyway, but no, I think this links in nicely to what we discussed last week. And I remember that we had Louisa come on last week, and we discussed what ideas that she could, you know, how she could take her passion to the next level, and how she could really begin to make money into that passion next year. And it's interesting because we now booked the session in for her to do the spa session on the 28th. So I'm really excited to do the work with her on a particular day. And as I was just going through, you know, a lot of the feedback and people that I had engaged, you know, over the years when I started doing the spa sessions, it's interesting because you and I have had a discussion about what you think about and how suddenly people begin to reach out to you to say, oh, it's the end of the year, are we going to be having spa sessions? And I think whilst we set up this avenue for people to come up and discuss, guys, Joan and I are talking now, but it seems like, what are they talking about? It's because most people haven't shown up when they registered for a hot seat. And the idea behind this particular, mastermind was really to open an avenue for anyone who has a business idea, has a passion, and doesn't know how to take it to the next level. Or you have everything that you're doing and you're not even sure which one of them to focus on. But you want to talk to somebody about it. You want a couple of minds, unbiased people to look at it and throw around some ideas. And even people in the audience as well can add on to it. And we found that only one person so far or two have been able to really use this opportunity. So when we come on here, I'm like, well, anybody registered, anybody showing up? And no, well, as you go through the rest of the year, it's really important to take stock. Really important to take stock. What has worked for you? How do you want to, repeat it and make sure you can scale it? What hasn't worked for you? How do you want to stop it? And if it's a subconscious thing, like we discussed just a few minutes ago about some subconscious or unconscious biases and things that we do, how do you tackle it? How do you put things in place to make sure that you don't fall back into that same trap? Because human beings, we're creatures of habits. You might decide, oh, I want to stop, but it doesn't just quite happen that way, because when push comes to shove, you will default to your programming. And programming is what it is, right? So I'm just putting that out there to say we don't just come online here to just chat and catch up, even though we live a couple of blocks away from each other, right? The idea is really to open up this avenue for other people to say, hey, can you bring me up? I have this idea I've been playing with, or no, I want to make this decision this week. What are your thoughts? That is really what this particular space for the next hour is about, or for the next about 45 minutes is about. So I wanted to say, if you're joining us for the first time, this is our third Saturday. I know I committed to 5. I don't know what that is looking like, but this is okay. This is our
committed to 5. You committed to in perpetuity. Like, well, what is 5?
This is our third Saturday of doing this, and I think Louisa will tell you that it's been exciting, just knowing that you have to now report to somebody, somebody's going to hold you accountable to these things that you put out there. Like Joan was just saying, she put it out there everywhere just so that people can hold her accountable, so she cannot hold herself back. The shame of saying to somebody that, oh, actually, I didn't do it, or, oh, you know what, I failed. That shame alone is what is like, no way. I want that people to ask me, and I want to be able to say, actually, you know what, I actually did not go to the mall as I planned not to. So this is really what this is about, and this is really an open space. As we always say, we are not experts, we don't know it all. But the idea is that once we begin to bounce ideas back and forth, a mastermind, a thought mind will appear, and even people in the audience can also contribute and say, hey, I can help you, or I know somebody that does this, I'll connect you. And this is really what we spend this hour doing. I enjoy it. I enjoy catching up with you. As you know, we are always talking about these things in the car. We'll say, oh, we should really record this. So this is great for me, but I really just want to make sure that people that are listening to us can take advantage of this, because we come here not with a script, not with anything prepared. It's just go with the flow. Never know who's in the audience and who needs to hear what they need to hear. So you don't want to over-prepare and overthink yourself. Just show up. Just show up. Raise your hand, come up, let's have the conversation. If you have any other ideas on how we can do this, maybe people are too shy because they want to send their questions ahead. Personally, I think if you can show up and talk about what you want help with, I'm not really sure you really need the help, really. I don't really think that thing is hurting you as much. But some people will say to me, oh, maybe someone is too shy to come up on camera on the day. Can they send their questions through and you guys can discuss it, anonymously? Yeah, that's possible, but the truth is I have follow-on questions, and who am I going to ask those questions? There's so many options and so many ways you can go. Oh, somebody's come up. I didn't know that. Hello.
Yeah.
Lemon, do you know what this is?
So you look very familiar.
So take 3 guesses.
Oh, that's not fair. Online, so that people can know that I don't remember who this is.
Not online. Don't worry. I've known you from back in the days, bro. I just decided to join.
Spill the beans. Give us some scandal.
This is Kenneth, baby.
Oh, yes. Hi, Kenneth. How are you? I'm trying to remember your last name now. It starts with an N, doesn't it?
Yes, Nwosu.
Nwosu, you see?
Yeah, I'm the founder of EKK.
Yes. How is business going? You're a businessman.
Yeah, going. Say that again?
You're a businessman, from what I remember.
Oh yeah. I've always been a businessman since I was 17. So yeah.
Oh wow.
How is
So
it
I own a
going?
couple of companies though, but yeah.
How is that going?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I always say, um, oh yeah, and I'm in Nigeria, so with the downturn of, well, you know how the naira is falling and everything, but there's always an opportunity to pick off in times like this. I always tell people to, you have to re-strategize and look for what works for you. So one of the problems people always face in times like this, and which is more reason why you see companies. So why are there some companies that benefit from this? I would call it a pandemic because it's actually leading to that.
A recession.
Oh yeah, okay. No. So you see that's the problem. So when we play with words, I really don't like it, especially with you people in finance. You say recession. You say what's the other word? There's a very big word they always use to devaluation and all. See, people on the streets they don't understand all those terms. They want to know why their 1 naira is no longer 1 naira right now, because right now as it stands now, your 1 naira is about, I think, 0.4 40 kobo.
If it's up to that.
Yes, and that is if it's up to that. So now
$780.
And nothing, and and I always say, so okay, why is bread 800 naira? Bread for the common man, why is it 800 naira?
Up to $1.
You look at the whole thing and you're like, wow, okay, what really affects the GDI of a country like Nigeria? Have you guys ever thought of it before? As in, why is there so much money in the system, yet there is no much money in the system?
Well, one is
I don't
corruption.
know. Beautiful, because most companies are fronts for money laundering. And that's the more reason why our gross domestic index doesn't add up. Nobody knows what is holding the naira. Nobody knows what is holding the economy. So like I'm in a rural settlement because I have some meetings to do with the obas, and people here in rural settings. The average man wants to just know the truth. Why does it always affect Nigerians more, the populace? Then how do we resolve these issues? It's pretty much simple. That's what the question. So if I see a Mayfield today, I'm asking you, see, please, why did you redesign the naira? What's cost? What cost to the average Nigerian? Because for everything they do, it affects our children if we don't pay back. And I hope a debt is a debt. So whether you say IMF is going to clear the loan or whatever, no, there's something. What is the real fact of debt? What are the real values? And all these things really add up. So
Can I ask you a quick question, though? Because I've known
I'm
you for a
listening.
while, and I know that you've been doing business in Nigeria, and these things are not new to us. I want to understand, what have you been doing differently that has, kept you in the game and now have a number of businesses? What has happened for you? How do you approach it? Because I think that's what I want to hear about, because you're right. All of those things are recurring, and they've been recurring since the beginning of time. They keep changing names and changing faces, and you're right. But I'm quite interested in understanding, like you said earlier, when I first knew you, you were a business person. You're still a business person. You know a number of companies. What has worked for you, and how are you approaching it differently? That's what I want to hear about.
Okay, so the truth is, you need to be true to yourself. When a business fails, it fails. I don't want to listen to conspiratorial speakers that says, "Oh, you need to keep on grinding, keep on going." No, you will just sink into more debts. So I've had a lot of companies fold, even with being perfect, because truth is, like I said, Nigeria. So if you find, okay, and I'll give you an example now. So we now import. So we import, I would say, okay, almost everything we do, and I would use it in the real estate, in the real estate business right now. So a house worth 20 million in 2015. Now, if we evaluate it right now, what is it going to be worth? Then you now ask yourself, how did these guys make money in real estate if it's not money laundering? And for that is just one of the industries. Now, how do these banks actually make that profit they declare. You see Q4, they are making, I think they made, Access Bank is making like 31 billion off 52 naira. I don't believe that, because it's not, I mean, the unbanked are still more than the banked. So people that have, I mean, we need to ask ourselves the truth. What makes Nigeria float? You know, I don't know if you get.
We get, and we understand the pain, and I think that the massive exodus that's been happening from Nigeria with a lot of talent. Nigeria is a very unique space. Well, I live there, so I know firsthand how difficult it is to do business. My family still tries to do business in Nigeria. It's government is trying to teach you, like, it's just almost impossible. But I think to make but for some reason you're able to still rise above some of these challenges.
Joan, hold on a second. Can you just go on mute briefly so that I can hear Joan's question?
I'm sorry.
The microphone. Sorry.
I don't think he's able to do that.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't worry. I'm good.
I was trying to say. So because we have people here who maybe are in the same situation, maybe they've lost everything, they have nothing, they don't know where to look, they don't know how to resuscitate their businesses, they want to get into business, they don't even know what businesses are thriving in Nigeria. So what advice would you have for people? I know you mentioned pivot, if the business is dying, move on. But what other advice do you have for people based on your own experience?
Truth is, I really don't like advising people, but sincerely, I would say boycott the banks. Nigerian banks are criminals. I mean, I don't understand why they intentionally want to make you fail. And I'm speaking, I mean, I really don't even know why, because you see, there are a lot of SME programs, and when I started, I qualified for BOI. I was part of the 50 people in Nigeria that they trained, you know, sent to Kenya, do all these things. At the end of the day, I didn't get it. And I had to use family funds. So I had to use my inheritance. I had to use, then I had a very, very good best friend that believed in what I was doing, you know. As at then, solar was new, so, which is actually my cash cow. My solar company is my cash cow. You know, and when you look at all these things coming, you know, from where we came from and where we are right now, you will now ask the question, how? Because the industry is so saturated that you now start to wonder, how would this guy be able to do it? Like, so I was in a meeting yesterday in Lekki. I'm in Lagos right now, and I don't know how you'll be able to give energy credits. So you do solar for some people, and they will pay you in bits. Mind you, Nigeria is not, sorry, this is my environment, so it's only Nigeria I know of. Nigeria is not a credit-worthy society. So people want to owe you intentionally not to pay. Now, there's a company now, or companies now, and they are doing solar they call it SHS, solar home systems, for free. You drop a deposit, then you pay monthly. When you default, what happens? I mean, this is a country where, you know, all the big men even want to default. They want to default the almighty banks. Then you are coming as a small stakeholder, and you want them to owe you, and you know they wouldn't pay. So if you're not doing something other than, you know, something shady under the table, so how do you fund your cash flow? Where is the money coming from? You know, why do you always like to pay your workers in cash instead of running it through the banking system? You know, so all these questions, like, I didn't even understand all these things since, but, you know, I'm in business. I actually forced myself to just take some courses online, then watch some series and talk to people. And now I understand why the real estate is just a total scam. Like, these guys will pay workers in cash. You buy your materials in cash. Why? If it's not money laundering, if you're not trying to claim money for some people. And that is the more reason why our politicians get so rich and so, well, they feel untouchable. You know, meanwhile, it should be the other way around. The people should be richer than the politicians. How many are they? I don't know if you get.
Yeah, I get you. And again, I don't live in Nigeria, but I do know Nigeria. And I've lived in multiple countries abroad. Corruption is global. like, I don't even believe that Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world.
No, I don't believe too that.
Corruption
Yeah.
exists everywhere. And,
Everywhere.
you know, there's two ways to look at it. You can hold yourself back. You can allow it to hold you back. Or you can find ways to really rise up against that, to kind of like you were saying, boycott the bank, boycott borrowing money from whatever, and just try to figure it out on your own. And I think that's where, for me, you as someone who's been able to do it successfully can really, really maybe mentor or guide other people to do it. Because I know that people are still hoping that the Nigerian system will work the way it should work. Like, I live in Canada, and if you're a small business, it's not so easy to get a loan either. Like, it's no one's just throwing money at you. They only started this whole black funding thingy 2 years ago, you know, because of the whole brouhaha. But again, the same challenge is everywhere. So one thing is, yes, the environment you live in might really impact you, might affect your ability to go fast and go far. But there are certain people I know, you know, that are still thriving in that environment. And that's what we want to be able to grow out, to help other people who are really struggling. Because I know people who have struggled, people who are in so much debt, people who have tried to kill themselves because of the frustrations of running a business in Nigeria.
I also think that something Kenneth said that I picked on, right? And this is something that a lot of small business owners are not aware of. Is that first part of one, the comparison, not understanding the economics that's really at work, and thinking that you're doing something wrong when actually that person is not running a business. Like you said, they're just running a laundry. And so you're killing yourself. You're trying to compete on that level when actually it is stupid. You can't compete on that level, and then you will run yourself to the ground. I remember many years ago when I was much younger, my dad was in the telco business, and I used to ask them this question: why would you sell a recharge card that is 500, written on it 500, and you sell it for 420, 430? It makes no sense. But they're all competing. Even as a child, I'm like, this doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then the other person who is the bigger dog will not sell it for 400 and kill everybody else. And I'm saying, wait, but this thing is giving 500 naira units. So how are you guys doing it? It doesn't work, right? But being that knowledge and understanding the economics of the whole, of the macroeconomics, understanding the economics of your business, and then once you have an understanding, then overlaying against what people are offering, it frees you from that comparison and going down the wrong route. Because people stupidly, and for some weird reason, constantly compete on price. And I understand that is because obviously everyone is trying to, make what they have go a very long way. However, I think there's a new crop of Nigerians and a generation of people who are willing to buy into the whole idea and the core governance of what you're selling, right, and what you're offering beyond price. So when I'm talking to brands and people, I say, you have to think about competing beyond price. You can actually place yourself, like you just said, boycott the banks. You can place yourself against the big dogs, and everybody else think, you know what, I want to support him just for this reason. I don't even care about the price, because how much extra am I having to pay, in that particular space? But when you don't understand that there are those nuances that you can leverage as a business person, when you don't take the courses, like you said, and speak to other people to get the education, then you're constantly chasing after this big person who is just a window shop for somebody else. And so they are willing to lose, 40 kobo on every naira, and you're there trying to make 20 kobo on the naira, and it's not adding up. So you need to understand the economics as well behind it. And I think that knowledge, creating for that knowledge, to take a step back and look at it to say, come, this thing is not adding up. I think I want to go down the route that they're going. If I'm not willing to go down that route, then let me just hold myself and do something that would actually work for me, or position myself against them and market on that particular basis. Because the average person can understand it. If you say to you're buying from that person is doing this, there's a likelihood of this because it doesn't add up. People will take a step back and actually ask that question. Right from when I was in Nigeria, I used to ask that question. My dad was in telco. I said, please talk to me. How is it that the person is selling something for 500 on the notes, and the guy is selling for 420, and then this big dog comes and sells for 390? It doesn't add up. So that piece, I just want to make sure that I hope that those who actually run businesses will understand that and begin to look at your competitors and ask yourself the true question rather than trying to compete on something that you can actually compete on. I just wanted to add that piece because I didn't want it to get lost. But Kenneth, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, you just said it, because see, everything starts with one kobo. You get, once you understand all the difference between between your business and a successful business is just adding the number of zeros you want to achieve. That's actually the first. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some businesses still doing it right, growing organically. I know that, But the chances are these businesses now are going to be targets in the coming years because I'm already a target. And the truth about it is that, well, maybe knowing what I know right now, I can't tell you if I'll say no right now because the truth about it is that sometimes, oh no, that's me. I will just say it the way it is because if you've grown something from scratch, like you had it in your mind, then it came to pass, and you're nurturing it, and you are deploying it, and you are seeing, I mean, you grow your customer base to 100. You know what it takes to manage 100 clients, customers, and keep them happy? It's not easy, So when I tell, I mean, Nigeria is just, I mean, it's broad. Like in December alone, this is just I think this is not even up to, okay, this is just 26th. December alone, I've been to 8 states, and I've been home for just only 3 days. And trust me, it's not easy. Now, where do you get someone? So meaning I have to, because next year, the plan for next year now is to duplicate the model. So we're going to duplicate it, and I would have like maybe 5 of myself. 5 of myself, I'm taking the risk of training and running away. Because I get a lot. I mean, people always ask me, what are you still doing in this country? And I'm like, I don't want to leave Nigeria. That's not my own dream. That's not my vision. I'm married to someone that lived abroad all her life, school there and everything. She's here, and she's seeing stuff work. But if she wants to go back. I mean, I won't hold you. But because the truth about it is that we can't fix Nigeria from outside. I always tell people, you can never fix Nigeria from outside. When you are in here, you bring your $10 million, you will find out that some people have that $10 million sitting in their house under their bed. You will find out that money will not even go anywhere because it's not going to be about the money anymore. It's going to be about your strategy. It's going to be about how you can bond with your subordinates, your employees, because employees are, in fact, let us leave that one for another, because you can never trust these guys. Especially, I'm speaking from someone that has, I have high network clients, and high network clients that don't respect themselves. They still want to go through your back to talk to your client because they want to get it for cheap, not knowing that when they get it for cheap, something happens, they will now ball back to the company. Then the company will now be saying, what happened, what went wrong? Then you do investigate. You now find out that, okay, this would have been resolved by just coming to the same channel. I don't know if you get what I mean. So you see, exactly. So the thing is not even about making money anymore. It's sustaining it, which is why most businesses don't even do beyond. I don't think, like we've been, okay, well, so my other company, before I registered a new company this year, after paying off my clients, after paying off my partners, yeah, I'm sure they didn't even believe I will even pay them off, because my own peace of mind, I'm not moved by money. My own peace of mind is very, very important, because I don't want to be running from pillar to post. But most people don't care. Most people don't care. Most people want to just, okay, I want to have 10 million, and you look for a scheme. And they always involve the grassroots, which was what happened this year. So when you look at this year, most of the monies made this year still ended up in one person's pocket, because he just, he invested like maybe 500 million naira, and he used it to, the likes of MMM, all these pyramid schemes. How much did they invest? So they invest, and they will come into Nigeria, target people, brainwash them. So you see that everything that happens in this country, people really have to. They make it seem like you only have to make it if you don't scam. You won't make it if you don't scam the next person. No, because if I'm watching the likes of MMM, MBA, you can Google these guys. These are guys that are intelligent. They are Christians. They go to church. They rally from church. No, so that's more like me. I'm not sentimental about religion, because I think religion is one problem. We're too religious for our liking.
Bondage for most people. Bondage. They cannot think for them. Exactly. They cannot think for themselves anymore.
No, I don't judge people from outside, but I always see it as saying this religion thing. So I'm always very, very careful when I even talk about this, because business has been my lifeline. I've never worked for anyone. And I always tell everybody that cares to see, the reason why I'll be able to kill you, well, in the actual sense, is if you mess up my business, because that is the only thing I know how to do. So tell me a business. I just need to go to your cash flow. Explain your cash flow to me. And if you want to know a true business, tell them to explain their cash flow to you. They won't be able to explain it because at the end of the day, they will want to sweet talk you and say, okay, they got money from Popsy or friend or even if it's the bank, because if it's the bank, you have a patrol. So you have remittance every now and then, But most cash flow, you see most cash flow. How would you have a sitting capital of 100 million? How did you get to 100 million? How many clients did you service?
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this business. I even import. Trust me, to have a profit of 100 million is not beans.
I want to ask a quick question. Something you touched on very briefly. I think it's very important, and I know a lot of business people are going through this now. And one of the things I always try to teach, with friends and clients, is this idea of, getting out of the weeds of the business and leading the business because they're so busy managing it. Like they are the ones in the way of the business. But when I think about it in the context of Nigeria, like you just said, you have to scale. You have to replicate this model. You have to, create people who also have the Kenneth thinking, right? The Kenneth thinking in the sense of training them and all of that. So we've come to a place of delegating. Because entrepreneurs in Nigeria, the biggest issue is that the business doesn't go beyond them because they can't seem to hand over to anybody. It's this whole trust issue, right? I want to ask a quick question. I want us to talk about that a little bit more in a sense of what do you think could be done? Or what are some of the things that you're considering that you think would help? Because we have put in place structure, we have put in place models where you're right, people are hungry, and no matter how much you invest in them and you think, okay, they're bought in, they have a price. One competitor can come tomorrow, just a little bit of extra pennies, and then they will sell you out and they're gone, right? Which is the tricky nature of all the systemic issues that we're dealing with. Well, what are you looking at doing, or what have you done before that maybe has worked, or what are you looking at doing or trying out? And then also, what kind of person are you looking for? There are like 3 loaded questions in that particular space. Just want you to give us an idea.
Yeah. So number one, don't deal with family. Never deal with family.
Love that.
Simple.
Yeah.
Number two is when you're so I wouldn't call it delegating. So one of the problems Nigerian businesses face is that they're always scared of outsourcing.
Yeah.
But my own model works on outsourcing. I don't own or hold any staff. And we've been running since 2018. And what I found out was, when you have consultants, so I call them consultants, so I deal with mostly electricians, climbers, so solar people that can go on the roof. I will train them based on what I feel they should know. So they see it as, a gift value they've added to their own knowledge. Then pay them. You see, one problem with business owners is that they always want to never pay for full value. For example, I know that any of my, if I call any of my consultants now, okay, I'm in Lagos now, I need 4 of you guys to come work on a project. I would pay you guys more than your day's worth. I'll tell you, don't quantify it in a day. I want to do this. I'm going to give you 30K for, if you do it in a day. If we can finish it in a day, 2 days, fine. The 30K is yours. And that is actually big money. But to me, I know that I have bought them and they would always create time for me. And it works nationwide. I don't fly all my staff. No. Everybody, to the person that does the account, everybody is on just be my consultant. And it's easy that way. That way you can't form a union on my head. And that way you can't ask for some insurance or all those things.
Health benefits.
I am paying. Say that again?
Ask for health benefits.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I don't want you to be liable on a company because I want to be more like free so that when the time comes, you will now see that, okay, you can also do this. I can also call you where I can go to. You go do it. Even though I always make sure I sign off every project. It's very, very hard. Trust me. I just signed off on a project in Benin 3 days ago. And from there, I drove down to Lagos. Now I'm driving down to Benin again, then Warri, before I get back to Port Harcourt. Then we wrap up for the year. So what it means is just that I just need to make sure that I create time for the business. So you can also do everything. You know, the business. So most people always, you know, it's just so funny why they won't even understand what the word business is. Busyness. You don't have to be busy doing nothing. Busyness can be used to re-strategizing in your mind and you're thinking, I mean, did you dream of the next level of where your business is going to be in another 3 months? Don't even, let's not even take it long term. Okay, in 2023, we are already thinking 2020. Well, I am already thinking 2023. I want to, okay, initiate this other one. All these projects I've been working on, initiate them. Okay, so how do we go about them? But once you don't understand the basics of the industry, Nigerians, see, I always tell people, you need to look for a way to buy people's value. It's just like the drug cartel. They would look for they will find out what would, you know, make you
keep your loyalty.
Yeah, not even that. They'll make you what will make you regret if you don't take the deal. And that's what I do with all this my consultants. Because I mean, the guy that followed me to Warri now, on his own, he got 100K, and that included the hotel. The hotel I slept was where they slept, feeding. You know, I paid the charter back to and fro, but this time around I drove, just enter the charter and go back, just to make them feel, because I found out that's the same thing all these IOCs, oil companies do.
Yeah.
You know, they make it very comfortable. They put you in a cool hotel. They make you look like, I mean, you'll be larger than life. I just try to do my own in that small, because these are people that are artisans earning 3K a day or 5K a day. You know, come and fix this. Then I brush them up and say, okay, you know what, let's do this. Yeah, if you do this way, it's going to work on my own equipment. If you do this way, you know, and that has really worked for me. But don't think it's all well too, because some clients are also still very greedy. They still go to my back and call my consultants instead of calling me. You know, you get. But like I've said, I still withhold some secrets, like the software we use to do the simulations. I will never release to anybody. You know, the software I use to initiate, you know, everything is always still with me. So we still keep some things, you know. But like I've said, people should be free with their businesses. You know, I mean, if I see the likes of, imagine Dangote now being everywhere, he won't be Dangote. I don't think he would have that kind of time. You know, does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. I think one of the biggest thing you said, the very first one is, don't hire somebody you cannot fire, which is family. Don't deal with family. Don't hire somebody you cannot fire.
Yeah.
The second one being, don't be emotional into your business. Yeah. Second one being, you know, outsource. Try and use your time for what will best serve you, right? In the sense of the pieces that can be done by other people, allow them go ahead and do it. You don't have to tie them into as employees in a sense. Instead, pay the consultant fee, slightly higher than market wage to get that level of, you know, commitment and loyalty to you. And when you call, they will actually answer. But then you don't have to deal with the whole
business. You know, that's still for a small business.
Obviously, that's really not for small businesses, 100%.
Right.
And then you talk about, you know, also empowering, the idea of, you know, they might not be up to where you need them to be, but be able to add that knowledge to them. So they feel like, oh, this person has taught me so much, has added something to me that I can use elsewhere. So I really like that idea as well. And then I think the other piece, obviously, which I think is very important, is knowing what can be shared and what can't necessarily be shared in the sense of intellectual property. Keeping what is important, because some people think it's every detail that matters, but there's some intellectual property in your business that actually makes everything flow. And people can actually see that you need to still retain. Obviously, I'm not asking you to share that with everybody or the people in the in the business that you're bringing on board as consultants. So I think the other one that I do like as well is just, we talk about this a lot in the last few weeks, and one of the reasons why we're doing the sessions is really, what is the dream for next year? Where do you see your business going? How do you want to pivot? And you talk about the idea of, you know, taking time as an entrepreneur yourself to actually dream about the next level. Not next level for 10 years, 5 years, but more near term. So I really like those ideas. I don't know, Joan, did I miss anything?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much it. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Kenneth. That was very, very informative, very unplanned, but it was very lots of tidbits.
Very good.
Yeah, sorry, it's impromptu. I'm busy, but I mean, so I guess I have to run now, though.
Yeah,
No
I
problem.
think you've helped a lot of people.
Thanks for jumping in.
With us.
Send me a
All
message.
right.
You should connect. I will be.
Oh, yeah, I
I'll
will.
be in your zone pretty soon. So let's talk about it.
Right, that's cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye. No, that was really good.
I know.
I'm glad Kenneth jumped on. So you see, guys, it's really unplanned. Wherever you are, just jump in and let's have a conversation because I can see people in the chat saying facts. That's how Nigeria works. Tell me about it. So if you have any idea, something that you want to discuss, your business is doing very well and you want to share, just like Kenneth just did, please join us. Hi, Virginia. Join us and let's have this conversation. It's, it's so funny because when he was talking, one of the things that tugged on my heart is I did explore the idea of having a small business manager school. Like I always really watch a couple of close friends that their parents have been able to transition succession planning and hand over their businesses to their kids. But I also watched them in that particular journey when they were doing that. There was a lot of tug of war between the parent style of doing business and then the new generation style of doing business. And this person I wanted to step on the toes of their parents. But the parents is still there, kind of helicopter to an extent. But in the beginning, when they tried to hand that business over, or bring the child in, it was very, very tricky. And it even had cases where I talk to my friends, women, what do you think I should do? And I always talk about succession planning and how to transition. I think those parents that have been able to do that is such a blessing because in many businesses in Nigeria and Africa, once the founder dies, the business just poofs.
Yeah.
And be able to hand that over to your kids, the next generation. It takes time, but having that in mind and putting a structure in place that is possible for you to hand over is one very important piece that people don't think about. Another thing is this, right? The clients themselves. But who are you? No, I want to talk to chairman. I want to talk to madam. And because they refuse to deal with the children, but they're like, no, that's not the arrangement that I had. Because it takes a while as well for those old clientele to get used to whatever new processes and systems you're putting in place. Even if your parent is going to end up paying them the same price, they want to believe that they've had that conversation and they had one more, final say. So I think with small business owners, you need to think about, the structure. What does this mean? I just want to do this for survival, and when I'm gone, it disappears. Or am I looking at building legacy, looking at something that can actually hand over in the long term? It doesn't happen overnight. You need to start putting that in plans, even as you. And if you're thinking about your parent business as well, there is nuances on how you bring yourself.
The rebel in me is just crazy. Every time you say take over your parents' business, I don't want your damn business. You go do whatever you want to do with it. I don't want it.
That's you, Joan. That's you.
The problem with
that's you
is they don't want to let go. So you want to hand over your business to your children, but you still want to control how they run the business. Like, how is that fair in any world? Like someone who's crazy, like it's not going to work for me. Like you can't come and put handcuffs and say, just drive the way you want me to drive. It's not going to happen. So for parents who have businesses, first of all, go learn who your child is. Find out what your children are interested in. Find out if they're really interested or even passionate about the business that you have. And if they are, and you're bringing them on board, I want to believe it's because you trust that they can take it from where you've left it and make it whatever. It could be bigger, it could be smaller, it could be nothing. It could be the end of the business. So what? What does it matter? But this whole idea of, because I ran Dangote Enterprises, my children have to come and run Dangote Enterprises. Like, what? When 2022, for crying out loud. No thanks. I just want to go dance and play basketball or play football. Whatever.
No. I'm not talking about it from the perspective.
In place to hand over things to your kids. No.
When I say hand over to the kids, I use that as a figure of speech for handing over to the next generation. You can, and that's why I wanted.
Why? What's wrong with the business?
No, that's not how businesses are actually grown. If you look at the real businesses that have succeeded in this world, they're not first generation businesses in many cases. Aside from some of them being in tech world, many of them have transitioned from one generation to another, are not necessarily the same family. And that's why I wanted to go into the whole small business manager school, because you can bring somebody from university or who has a master's who is able to take on the ropes and manage things. And that was where I was coming from, in the sense of it doesn't have to be your family member. The reason why I went to that business.
Don't deal with family. I wrote it down. Do not hand over anything to your kids.
The reason why I wanted to do the whole small business school, manager school, is because a lot a lot of graduates seem to think that joining a small business is not where they're meant to be. You know, I graduated, I have a first class, I'm supposed to go and work for, big tech, I'm supposed to go and work for the big banks. You don't understand. You will be a figurehead.
But what's wrong with that, though?
No, they smack at the idea of, why would I come and work for KKK and Co Limited?
But what's wrong with that, though?
No, it's wrong. Because the truth of the matter is this. Wait, hold on. The truth of the matter is this. Those big organizations do not become like that overnight, number one. The grandiose idea, wait, let me answer and finish, Joan. The grandiose idea that you have of these places might not actually be when you actually get there. You would be surprised that what you thought was, I think the same level of respect should be given to the idea of being able to manage a small business. I want to say a small business, I mean a business that has, 50 to 100 employees.
Have you worked for a one-man business before?
Yes, I have.
And
for a small business before.
Was it pleasurable?
It was. Actually,
in which country? In which country?
It was in Nigeria.
Ugh.
I was part of the startup group. And I think it really helped me as a person from a strategy perspective because I got my hands into every part of the business. Now, hold on. The person who was running the business came from abroad. So he had a different mindset on how he wanted to set up his team, right? In that particular sense. But I have to say that when I look back at the experience I had where my strategy journey started, where my linking strategy to operations and what actually happens in that space, I always think back to that time, being part of that small team starting this business, because I think it really did contribute to seeing things in the bigger picture rather than just the small piece that they allow you to see when you are part of a larger organization and you guys are just a fragment in the bigger pie. Don't get me wrong, it's great, but I just feel like the reason why some of these businesses struggle to attract talent is because of the way we see them. We think, oh, please, I wouldn't spend my time doing that. It's not grandiose enough when I go to my school reunion to say, this is what I'm working on. It doesn't have the name that everybody remembers. I think that those businesses should still be given, the right level of acknowledgement so they can attract the right talent. Because people always think that if you're working with the kind of businesses, if you're a general manager, then maybe you had a third class, so you don't have anywhere else to go. And so maybe that's just, I feel like it's unfair because that is where your entrepreneurial instincts really do start. You get an opportunity. Again, don't get me wrong. It depends on who the principal is. It depends on the mindset of the principal itself. I'm not looking at it in the mindset of, Tiwa and the Nigerian.
Almost out of time. So can I respond? Because I think you've just overgeneralized. And I've worked with small businesses, like gone to work for like one-man businesses. Would I ever do it again? Hell no. Thanks, but no thanks. Yes, you might learn some experience, but at a very, 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 very small level, small scale. Okay, talking about businesses that have 10 employees, 15 employees. The insults you get, like in Nigeria, you work for a one-man business, you're the one going to pick up the kids from school, you're the one going to...
No, that's nanny. That's stupid. That's not
what a lot of one-man businesses do. They use you for every single thing. You might think that you're going to get all this experience. There's no guarantee that you're going to get all of this experience. I've done small businesses, 10 employees. I've done 15, 20, 50, 100, 5,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. I got my biggest experiences from the big organizations. And for me, like, I'm not loyal to anybody, and I say that very openly. Like, I go with what I want to learn next. So when I wanted to do communications, I went and got a job in communications. I learned communications. I wanted to do experiential marketing. I went and did experiential marketing. I wanted to do project management. I did that. I wanted to do IT. I wanted to do HR. I've done it all. Like, I've done full circle. But if I'd stayed in one small 10-man business, like, I would not be able to function at the level that I do today. So, and I think it is unfair to think that people look down on the small businesses. For me, I always look at what do I want to learn right now? And it doesn't matter what the company is what do I want to learn right now?
Exactly.
And the reason why people would, because if I'm going to spend 40 hours of my week for a small business earning $25,000 a year, and for the same job, in a big company, I'm going to earn 200,000. Give me a freaking break here. Hello, I'm going for 200,000. Thank you very much. It's not my father's company. I think that I don't want to overgeneralize. People who need jobs. I'm telling you, people are fresh out of school looking for jobs. I'm not quite sure they're saying, oh, I can only work for Shell. I can only work for the big telcos. I'm trying to get a job. You yourself admitted that last week that you put out a job and people who were overqualified were applying. Why are they applying? Why aren't they saying, go work for some small business with how many people? I'm not going to do that. So I'm not convinced that people only focus on who doesn't want to go work for Shell? Who doesn't want to work for Shell? I do. But again, I don't think that they're looking down on these small businesses. No, maybe what they're offering is just not good enough.
So there are two angles to look at this, right? Don't want to generalize, but I'll tell you for a fact, because I do a lot of mentoring with people that just
I do a
leaving
lot of
school.
mentoring too. I don't have that experience.
When over here is fine, but when you look at the Nigerian market, people do raise their nose.
I like Nigeria. I ran an incubator. Hello.
Yeah,
What
so
other kind of mentoring can you do? I ran an incubator with
they raise their nose when you look at, okay, actually, oh, this business is looking for a manager, this business is looking for this. They're not quite, oh, it's not what I'm looking for. And it makes me smile because ultimately, like you said, you need to know, what do I want to learn right now? And maybe that small business is where you can get that experience and that exposure to do that. That's one area. But the second area that we just touched on is, as a small business owner yourself, when you have people come and work for you, there needs to be respect and delineation of roles. That's what we should be addressing, because it's the abuse of those resources and the abuse of those people that makes it difficult for you to retain good talent even when you get some, or even being able to even attract them in the first place. So I hear you. The reason why I don't mind is because from my experience of working with small businesses, I've been fortunate to work with people, they came. So they had their own training. They didn't think that because I'm helping them in strategy, I'm suddenly their nanny or their assistant, I'm going to go pick up their dry cleaning. It was never anything that they even, even when in my Nigerian nature, when I first started, I offered, my boss was like, no, that's not your job. I'm not going to use you for that. But thank you very much. So it really comes down as well. It's two sides of it. It really comes down to making sure that, one, you understand, okay, what I want to learn right now, I'm actually get better exposure to it. And the thing is, you get good sphere of control in those areas compared to, as you know, in a larger space. But ultimately, if I'm a business owner,
if you're an expert, good sphere of control.
Well, I'm talking about experts here. I'm talking about people that just live in school.
Yeah, but if you go work for one-man business as an admin manager, you're not getting anything. Like,
no,
let's just be honest.
Admin manager is not the role. I just talk about business
but you're talking
manager.
about a role of a strategist. Like, how many fresh graduates can go do strategy for
I just talked about this in the sense of business managers, right? So I want to open a school for business managers. So it's a whole
Would
piece.
you hire a business manager fresh out of school? Be honest.
If they have gone through the training that I had in mind, that I wanted to do, the idea that I had in mind for a business management school, yeah, I would have hired them, because it would have been similar to
because for me, you need to
what they were offering in my MBA, in my MBA program. So it's two sides. As a person, whatever the case may be, understand what you want to learn, make sure that you find an environment that you can actually learn it in. And then as a business owner, particularly if you're in Nigeria, in Canada and in the UK, in all of those countries, it's different.
No, it still happens. It still happens.
It's slightly different. Yeah, it happens, but it's slightly, you can challenge it, you can speak up to it. But in Nigeria, please, if you're a business owner, because you hire somebody as, they're only 2 employees, doesn't make them your nanny, doesn't make them your, go and pick up my coffee, my this. Respect people at the level that you have put them in at, and make sure that they understand and they're clear about what the expectations are, and you respect it. Because when you don't, it's just abuse. It ultimately is abuse. And that's why, like he was saying earlier, Kenneth was saying, attracting is one, retaining and building loyalty is another. I know a business person who worked with me to train a member of their staff who has been so loyal for almost 16 years, but she just doesn't have the competence to take over the business because she doesn't have the education. And this entrepreneur approached me and said, let's put a structure in place, a program. I need to bring her up because the one thing she has I can never get anywhere else is the loyalty, but I need to be able to educate her and empower her enough, because I don't want her to be at this level. I can't hand over the business to her if she's at this particular level. That's great. So as a business owner, I think just looking at how you can also add value to your people and empower them so that they see that you actually, investing in them, so you value them, is such an important element of this whole conversation, which is why some people like myself will consider it, and if it doesn't work, I walk away. Some people like Joan, like, hell no, forget it. I'm not even going to touch it. So you see, those two of us here, we have different thoughts and different perspective on whether you should or whether you shouldn't. But when you do get the opportunity to, particularly if you're on the employer side, please give yourself brain.
Yeah, give yourself brain. Awesome. So for those of you who didn't start from the beginning and who fell victim to Black Friday shopping. I hope you did not finish all your money because Christmas is still coming. You have to buy me and the rest of the world Christmas gifts. Like this, again, I'm going to show off my best
Oh
auntie
my God.
ever mug that I got.
This month is one of three.
That is
Don't have one.
pissing me off. But I think, like it was great that Kenneth came on, but I think from where we started off, as people are looking towards the end of the year and taking stock, you can only take stock if you actually had goals. So if you didn't have goals, no problem, no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. As we look ahead into 2023, make sure you have those goals. Set the goals. Like I said, I wasn't going to shop on Black Friday. Set whatever goals you want, whatever success is going to look like for you in 2023. Write it down and then look for accountability. Like I announced to the whole world, I'm not going to shop. Look for an accountability partner. You can hire a coach, hire a mentor, whatever, or just look for a friend that really believes in you and can hold you accountable. And make sure you track your progress, because at the end of the year, you want to be able to look back and say, hey, what was I able to accomplish? What worked? What didn't work? What could I have done differently? What do I need to abandon completely and go start something fresh? It's a process. And if you don't plan it out and commit to it, then nothing's going to happen. You're just going to wake up each year and be like, sure, another year. Oh my God, this year was fast. That's why you're hearing, oh my God, where did the year go? Well, the year went where you were doing nothing. That's what happened. So yeah, final words, baby. It's already 101.
Yes, no problem. So guys, I think Joan said most of it. But for me, I think what I'd like to part with is she's right. Get help looking through your goals. Get help auditing your year as to how we actually went. I would invite you to check out my program for SPA. It's spawithgbemioni.com, and you can check it out. Where I will sit with you to sort. It's SPS, is sort, prioritize, and get accountability for your goals in the coming year. So we do a whole audit of the past year, and then we go into what the goals should look like, tied into your big why for the coming year. And it will be obviously one-on-one. So check it out. But that is going to cost you compared to if you actually spend time on a Saturday to come up here free of charge for an hour to talk to us both. You actually then get two minds to help sort through your goals in that particular process. But whatever you choose to do, both avenues are open to you. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Beyond that, I think I want to wish you, those in America, happy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you
No. They didn't
enjoy it.
Thanksgiving.
I hope you enjoyed yourself Thanksgiving. And
I hope you ate too much and you put on 50 pounds.
I hope not. I hope the food only built into muscles. I went out to the right places. But anyway, beyond that, I want to say have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy what is left of it. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday.
Time next week. See you all.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye.